Hey there, I just want to say yoga can be for everyone. However, it is your responsibility to determine if you are ready and able to perform this workout video. If you or a family member have a history of heart disease, high blood pressure, or are obese with any physical or medical condition that could be aggravated by a physical activity, please consult a physician before proceeding. If you are pregnant, also consider consulting a physician. If you have any history of injury such as neck, back, shoulder, or knee, please proceed with caution and stop immediately if you feel any pain, lightheadedness, or nausea. The user assumes all risks. Thanks, and I'll see you on the mat. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Connection Yoga. My name is Kat, and we have Roscoe here sniffing around, sniffing out for the pose that we are going to break down today. As you know, it is revolved triangle, revolved pyramid, whatever word you want to put on it. Twisted, same thing. It's all semantics. And really what matters is what you're doing in the pose. So I am going to be breaking down how to align both the skeletal and muscular body within this pose to keep it safe and to allow for proper engagement of what this pose is trying to do for you. So we are going to get into it. If you want to hit pause and go back to my pose breakdown of triangle pose first, I highly recommend doing so. It definitely would help your understanding and overall structure of this pose, though they do work different muscle groups in some ways. So if you want to pause, watch that and come back, do so. Otherwise, you should be able to do this pose with me right now. First, I am going to demonstrate like Vanna White, and then you are going to join with me if you like, breaking down each part of the body, exploring the things that I'm saying, seeing what feels good, what feels different, and so on and so forth. So first I am going to demonstrate like I said. So I'm demonstrating with a block, but I will also talk about without. So boom, twisted, revolved triangle, woo! All right, so as you can see from the shape of my legs, you can see where the triangle comes in, and by the twist in my rib cage up here, that's why it's twist. So yoga, it's trying to keep it simple for you. Trying to keep it simple for you out there, people. Cool. So starting with the feet. Both feet are at 12 o'clock. So you can start setting them up from a standing position with a pretty good space in between, making sure your hips are in the center between those two locations. All right, hips are squared to the front to begin. Feet are pressing, lengthening over the knees. So you want to keep a soft bend here so that you can lengthen those muscles in the front and back without locking the knee out, okay? So back foot can be gently opened or in line depending on your own personal balance. With it slightly open, you have a greater base for you to stand on, closed, whatever. You get the picture? You want the hips forward and lengthening over those legs, okay? So these legs are working, lengthening here, pressing into the earth and pressing back up. The energy that we press down comes back up into both of our legs, okay? So unlike in triangle where our hips are open to the front of our body, our hips are square and we want to keep them there with a flat back right here, okay? We want this to be flat. If you touch it and you feel this hip is coming forward or that one's back, you'll feel the slight like dip. You can touch your hand, touch yourself in yoga, okay? Feel what I'm talking about. Look at yourself. Don't be afraid, okay? So you can touch back there. Make sure those hips are even and square, okay? And that's where you want to keep it. So to keep it there, you're going to use your booty muscles, okay? So specifically your gluteus medius and your maximus in the back is going to be engaged to keep your hips not only level, keeping them flat, but also keeping them centered and stable over the legs, okay? So your butt should be fired up, keeping this leg in, okay? And it's only gonna get a little bit more as you open. One thing I just realized, because I do it myself, do not grip your toes. You wanna press the four corners of your feet down and not your toes. It's like your palms. You wanna press the palms sometimes and not the fingers gripping, okay? If you grip that, you're gonna be gripping this hip, and we don't want that, okay? We wanna be lengthening and strengthening the hip muscles, okay? So, pressing down, lengthening, and that brings us to our floating core and spine here, okay? So, that is here. We want it essentially extending out the most that we can while still being able to breathe, okay? And this region, our thoracic spine region right here, whoop, thoracic, lumbar, cervical up here by your neck and chest, okay? So this is where your twist is gonna come from. You want it to come from your ribs, not your hips, okay? Your hips, you want them to stay stable, because if your hips are dumping, reaching around, then your spine has the potential to be flexing to overcompensate for that reaching that you're trying to get. And by flexing, it has the potential to over-mobilize. We don't want our vertebra to be shifting, or we don't want that, okay? We want a strong, straight, lengthened spine engaged. So it's crucial that you do pay attention to your hips in this twist as you twist from the rib cage, okay? This is going to depend on your abductor, your sides, your transverse abdominis flexibility, and your lats. So that is your upper body reaching out of your spine here. So if you have short muscles there, this can be quite difficult, and you need to pay attention to what you're doing with your hips so that your spine is protected, okay? So again, reaching out through the core here, belly engaged for sure, twisting through these ribs right here, all right? Bringing us to our beautiful chest, shoulder, arm region, all right? So as you have clearly seen, you have one arm down and one arm up. So this top arm is where modifications can begin, all right? First, start with your hand on your hip or your hand on your low back so that you can feel where it's going, starting to open that chest without trying to reach too far. You know, take your time, okay? Make sure your hips are set up before you keep going, before you keep twisting, and maybe pulling yourself out of alignment, okay? The next hand thing that you can do other than here is reaching it to the sky, okay? So, as I said with the block, I have a block here because I personally have tight hip muscles. So this can be a lot for my hips, and so I give myself that space for my upper body to rotate here. I can also do it with my hand on the earth. It is a little bit more work though, and I caution doing so yourself unless you know how open you are, okay? And if you do it, you can place your hand down, you can place your fingertips so you're not dumping into your shoulder. I don't really put my hand on my leg here, though I'm sure you probably could. I find the balance out here offset of like my toe, my big toe kind of to the left angle is the best balancing position for myself, but it's just something that you need to play around with within yourself and notice and pay attention and try. So that's it, bringing us to up here on our neck. As our shoulder and pecs open, our neck needs to stay neutral, lengthening out of our crown. Gaze starting at the floor and working our way to the sky as we wish, as our own comfort level allows. So that is it. I'm going to talk about breathing briefly while I do the other side to try and balance myself out. So respect that this side might feel different, okay, first. Second, with the breathing, all right, it can be quite difficult if you are short in the hips, short in the low back. Within this twisting, we are obviously compressing our belly space, so compressing our rib cage, our diaphragm, the space we need to breathe. So you need to take care. If you are finding you can't breathe, you need to gently come out, reduce your twist until you're able to deepen it while breathing, okay? So pay attention to it because this can be a really hard one to breathe if we're tight. Otherwise, it can be nice, and the work is really just in the body. All right, so it's about coming back. It's about trying, and that's yoga, okay? So I really love this pose because it's so difficult for myself and for my body, and so I hope you found something in it that challenged you, something you learned new about your body today. So that's it. Let me know if you have any comments or questions about this pose, and I will see you next time. Namaste, everybody.